Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Join Terry with Tracer Rounds every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central to hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Tune in to see if you're on target. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio, giving veterans a voice. The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Welcome back to Tracer Rounds, and I'm your host, Terry, and you're on MBR, where we're giving veterans a voice. And tonight's veteran is Samuel T. Watkins, Jr., and I know that you have, you're a veteran and you have military service. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your military service and what branches you were in and maybe how many years you served, that type of thing?
Sure. Terry, thank you for having me on. My military service is one of unconventional, a path that I've taken. I've actually spent 22 years active duty and 2 years in reserve. Initially was in the Air Force ROTC in North Carolina State, as I was attending another university and they had an interinstitutional agreement. It was during that time frame in my sophomore year that I contracted a meningitis and I was forced to leave school. So I had to leave school. I also had to leave the Air Force ROTC, and I thought that was the end of my career. It took some time to go home and get healthy. And then the challenge was from my uncles. My mother had 5 brothers, my father had 3, and there were service members among them. And the challenge was whether or not I had what it takes to go in the military. Well, my biggest challenge was I had 2 uncles in the Marines, and I was always impressed by the dress blues. So the challenge was to make it through boot camp. Boot camp is basically 11 weeks long. It took 4.5 months for me to complete it. But I did. And then I did the Marine Corps for 10 years. Then I transitioned after the Marine Corps, after the bombing of the Marine barracks in Beirut, transitioned into the Army for another 12 years. So I started with the Air Force as an Air Force ROTC, then active duty in the Marines, and then served another 12 years with the Army. Now, along those paths, since retiring from the military, I've also worked with the Air Force. So I've covered all 4 branches. With the Marine Corps, we're part of the Navy, so I work with the Navy.
Right.
And as a defense contractor, I did 3 different assignments with the Air Force as well. So I've pretty much covered all the branches.
Wow, that's quite a service history and quite a path that you took to get where you are right now. So, what job specialty did you hold in the Marines, and then what did you hold in the Army?
I initially started out in the Marines as a 0311, which is an infantry MOS, and then I transitioned into military intelligence, which is the same field that I transitioned to when I left the Marine Corps and joined the Army, and the fields that I work in as a Department of Defense contractor as well.
So, what would you say you learned the most from your military service, or what did you take away from your military service when you left and you took on a civilian role?
One of the things that the military teaches you is camaraderie.
Yeah.
Also learn to be self-sufficient and to be able to put forth the effort when you think you have nothing else to give. You got to give some more. So with that being said, a lot of the training that we go through, and because I've been in several branches, I've acquired skill sets that I normally wouldn't have just being in one branch or serving in one specific MOS. And those tools gave me the skill set to accompany me when I transitioned from the military. And like some military personnel, when they retire or leave for whatever time they spend in the military, they go into law enforcement. Well, I did that as well. So I went from the military into law enforcement and then back to a government contractor because I had a break in between. And the skill set that I had allowed me to be able to stay employed between law enforcement and the intelligence community.
So, what branch of the police force were you? Sheriff's office? What law enforcement branch were you in?
Now, this is another unconventional path, like my military career. I started out as a state correction officer in the state of Virginia, working at a maximum security prison. I transitioned from there to a regional jail in the Hampton Roads area where I live at. I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And then from there, I joined the police department. Right after that time, about 2 years in, 9/11 happened, and I got called back. And so when I returned from active duty, they reinstated my security during the time frame, so that really allowed me to re-enter the corporate workforce for Department of Defense because my security clearance was reinstated. And I've been back and forth between those jobs as a defense contractor. But I stayed in touch with my law enforcement background, both as an active first responder and as an auxiliary. So I went from state corrections to local corrections to a police officer and a deputy sheriff. I retired as a lieutenant with the sheriff's office as a logistics officer and instructor.
Oh, wow. You've had quite a career, I would say. Like you've transitioned all over the place. And like you say, you bring a wealth of experience and knowledge because of your diverse background in, law enforcement and then in military service. So I think you've got a good package and a good presentation to give to an employer because you come with all those experiences at the ready.
Thank you. One thing I like to say is that because of those experiences and some of the roadblocks and setbacks that I had, I was determined to continue to do something I felt strongly about. And for anyone listening, if you have roadblocks or setbacks and your desire is to do something, you stay with it. One of the things I learned, it may not happen at the time you want it. It may happen further down the road. But if you have that fire and desire to do whatever it is that you want to do, stick with it, and I'm sure that it will come forth for you.
I agree with you. I mean, it takes persistence. If you're easily swayed, then you won't get where you need to go. But if you have a target or you have a mission or you have a focus, you're going to do much better if you just keep on that path and keep trying. Because, like it's with jobs too. Like if you apply for a job and you don't get the first one, that doesn't mean you're not going to get another one. You just got to keep trying. You just got to keep putting yourself out there till you get where you want to be, because, you're going to probably get 10 no's before you get one yes.
And I've had a lot of those.
Me too. Me too.
And another thing is, you need to know a little bit about yourself, what your niche is, what you're good at, what you desire, or what you like. And sometimes the position or job you're looking for is not always the one that you're most skilled at. So a lot of people don't understand that some of their hobbies and some of the things they like to do, some of the skills they have, may be the moneymaker for them, maybe their career enhancement. Because it's not always what you learn in school or what you get your degree in that propels you into the career that you want. It could be something totally different from that may catapult you into the desire and healthy environment that you want.
I agree. I mean, you never know where you're going to end up. You start down a path, and sometimes, it goes left or it goes right, and you follow that azimuth as far as it takes you. And then, you can cut back again and it'll follow another path. And so you never know exactly, at the end of the day, unless that's, your only sole focus is to be a firefighter or be a police officer or whatever.
Right.
But like you said, you can still transition within that career field to be any number of things within that career field. So you still really, at the end of the day, don't know where you'll end up. And sometimes it's more fun that way, because to see your path and to see your trajectory and to see where you actually end up being is kind of, it's a surprise sometimes. And it's very satisfying to know that you've worked so hard and now you are in a place you saw yourself being successful, but you really didn't see yourself maybe doing this thing or that thing.
Well, I really didn't see myself being successful. My success was being an athlete, but I didn't get as successful as I wanted to be. I wanted to be a track star, NBA player. I had the skill set, but not a lot of people who have those desires and skills actually make it or get selected. Me, I had obstacles, which was the meningitis, and then I had a desire to stay within the military. So throughout the military, I was able to excel in athletics at the various assignments that I've had. I was all Army in track and field and basketball, and I was all Marine in track and field and basketball. So I've had those accolades to show for what I didn't make. And one of the best opportunities I had from being in the military was being at the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, Korea.
Oh, wow.
I was stationed there. I had the opportunity to attend some of the events. I was able to meet some of the athletes that was there and take pictures. So yeah, that was a highlight. So not having to be an Olympian, I met the Olympians and I watched them.
That's pretty darn cool to be at the Olympics and then actually get to talk to them and take pictures with them and kind of, just hang out with them for a short time. If, even just taking the picture, that's enough, I think. That's pretty exciting.
Well, sometimes some of them I wasn't able to get closer to take a picture with them, but I took pictures of them, and that was just as satisfying.
Yeah, definitely.
The funny thing about that is, if you know who some of the Olympians are and you approach them or you're able to have a conversation, sometimes people around don't know who they are, and once word gets out or they realize who you're speaking with, and then they become like a magnet. Everybody wants to join in and talk and take pictures. He's like, where were you before? You didn't know who they were.
Right. Only when I pointed it out who they were, did you know that you needed to get close and get a picture because you were missing an opportunity.
Right. So I will say I have pictures of Flojo, also known as Florence Griffin Joyner.
Yeah.
Her husband, Al Joyner. All of the Olympians that was there, I have them in different areas. Edwin Moses, he was my favorite as far as a hurdler, because I wanted to run hurdles, but I could never coordinate getting my feet over the hurdle.
Me either.
The one person I actually had a picture with she was the 800 meters runner. Her name was Delisa Floyd. She was one of the ones that I actually had an opportunity to speak with and take pictures with, and that's when everybody decided to congregate and join up. But it was nice. It was a good environment. Being in the military and being stationed there, the Olympians were there on the base. They practiced on the base.
Really?
And we had an opportunity to have lunch with some of them because they ate at the cafeteria or on the post. before they went out, or before they went to the Olympic Village, and most of them stayed out there as well. But we had a lot of opportunities to see them on base in slow career.
That's pretty neat. I never would have thought they would have went to the base, but I mean, I guess it stands to reason they might have done that. That's pretty exciting.
The boxers practice on base, the basketball team practice, and they had scrimmage games against the military there. And some of the other Olympians that were not familiar would come on like tourists like anybody else. We go to another country and tour the cities. Well, they come on the military base and tour it as well.
That's pretty neat. Well, I think we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to play.
It was a unique environment in a time. I understand.
Very neat. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
I thought I lost you.
Oh no, we're good. We're good. We're just going to take a quick break, and we're going to play "You Can't Spell Hero Without Her." It's a new song by Coffee Anderson that he wrote for female veterans.
Signed up to fight for freedom. What a price you had to pay. Picture in a helmet, missing family every day. Your lady liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to Tracer Rounds, and this is a station that's giving veterans a voice. And tonight's veteran is Samuel T. Watkins, Jr., and you served in the military in various capacities. And so I think I wanted to kind of let our audience know about what else you do. So I happened to buy your book off of Amazon, and it is called Whispers from My Heart. Can you tell us how you decided to write that poem book and how that came about?
How it came about initially was early in my military career. when I was in the Marine Corps. We deployed a lot. And so as with the movie, The 6888, mail doesn't always catch up with you. And so the guys in my unit, they were writing letters to their wives and girlfriends and significant others. And I used to write poems. Some of them was just only 1 or 2 liners, but they would ask me to help them write a letter, or there's something they wanted to say and they wasn't sure how to phrase it. So I would write it for them. And it became a request over and over, write this for me, write that for me. And so that's how I started writing. I was writing initially for myself, but then because I was communicating with some cousins that I have, and they are prolific writers as they were from their parents. And we were writing and communicating back and forth. And I started writing for the guys in my unit. And after a period of time, we get to talking back and forth to one another. And then, one thing leads to another, and then we're ready to fight. And I'm like, that's it. We're writing no more. But that's how I started writing. I was writing poems for the guys in my unit. My collection would have been larger had I kept copies of them, but I didn't. And the idea to write a book, as I mentioned, one of my cousins was a prolific writer, and she encouraged me to write. She's in the book. I gave her credit for her name is Michelle Jackson Taylor, and one of my first cousins, and she writes, and she's an ordained minister now. And she was my editorial publisher. She edited it. She encouraged me, and we worked together on the product, and that's how it came to pass. Now, a lot of the poems in there are stories behind some of them, not all of them. And one of the poems that I did write is called Why I Write. And that took me about a minute and a half to write because someone asked a question.
Oh, wow.
Why do you write? And I had to sit there and think about it. And as I was thinking about it, I started making notes to myself. And then it came out, Why I Write. And I identified people who can write but don't, people who can write but won't, or people who have passed and can't. And so all these different various reasons why people can write and don't write, which is why I write. And
so Michelle Jackson Taylor's saying, hey, cuz.
Now that song there, they reminded me of Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. Mm-hmm. That was the first song I heard when I returned back from Desert Storm. I landed in Maine. I was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. And when we reached the Eastern Seaboard and we came off the plane, they were playing that song.
Oh, wow.
And tears rushed from my eyes.
I bet. It's a very powerful song.
Yeah, it was a beautiful song. But that song there reminded me of another thing that I do with the military is, as a veteran myself, I'm an advocate for veterans. I am a member of the Disabled American Veterans. Mm-hmm. My chapter is in Virginia Beach, Chapter 20. And I also am an advocate for women veterans. For the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have a committee that represents the whole state. In that committee, there's 5 representatives for the whole state. Each one has a region. And I had the Southampton Rose region as the only male member on the committee. So I was the first and the only. And we advocate for women veterans for benefits that they've earned. Mm-hmm. And we advocate for them because women veterans have certain criteria that affect them only and not male veterans. They also need a voice to be spoken for on their behalf that is not always available to them through other sectors. And so as an advocate for them, with all the other military agencies and veteran agencies, we collaborate and we try to speak on behalf of the woman veteran as well and support them in their efforts to be seen, to be heard, and to have better benefits for them available to them that they've earned.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. How long have you been doing that?
Over 20 years.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's a long time.
As an active constituent for the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, about the last 10 years.
Wow. And you won a congressional recognition for that work?
Yes, ma'am. Congresswoman Jen Kagans, who is represents the second district in Virginia, she presented me with a letter of commendation from her congressional background.
That's pretty awesome.
And that was in support of an award I was nominated for. I have not yet been told if I'm a recipient, but it's been out there. I'm just waiting to see if I'm been selected.
Well, good luck. I wish you much luck on that. It sounds like you've done a lot of good work and you're very deserving of it.
With that being said, I'm also a member of Excelsior University's Alumni Leadership Council. And I use the Leadership Council as a platform to support the veterans and for the veterans to support Excelsior University. So we work hand in hand, and my opportunity of being part of the Leadership Council gives me an opportunity to do both simultaneously, to promote the university and to help veterans go back to school if they have been in school and have left for whatever reason, to go to school if they haven't utilized the benefits that's available to them to enroll, and to advocate for those who are on the fence or one way or the other to either re-enroll, go to school, or to continue that they're in, because we all face many different difficulties and setbacks and roadblocks, and sometimes education will suffer for that. And as you know, from our persistence, I want them to move forward and perceive that the opportunities are still there. You just have to want it bad enough to do it. And also, it doesn't hurt if you have someone to support you and help open the doors for you to allow you to be able to do that and to be all you can be, as we used to say in the Army.
Right. Yeah. They went away from all you can be, and then they finally went back to it because they determined that, that really was a good tagline, a slogan, because all the other ones really didn't hit their mark. So be all you can be is not a bad slogan.
Well, like all the other products that are advertised on TV, you find a brand that works, and then after a period of time, you want to try something different or something new, and you find out, well, that didn't hurt us before. Let's bring it back.
Right. I agree with you. Yeah. So your talk about Excelsior is really how we got connected, because I had been talking to some of the officials at Excelsior, because I also am a graduate of Excelsior. I got my bachelor's and my master's from Excelsior. And I'm really excited about how they work with veterans, how they partner, and how, they make it as easy as they can transition-wise to get into school and to start work on your degree, no matter how many classes you can take at a time or how few you can take. They really work with you. And then they, your arts from your military transcript also translate to credits with Excelsior. And Excelsior started way back in the day as Regents College, and then it transitioned, and it was pretty much military central or centric, I guess, back then. Mm-hmm. And then it transitioned to Excelsior College, and then now it's Excelsior University. So it's grown and it's become a full-fledged university at this point. What do you say is your biggest benefit from having or being a part of the Alumni Association, the Leaders Council, and also just from graduating and from using your military dollars to get your degree?
Very good question. I would say being on the Leadership Council, Alumni Leadership Council, allows me to give back to the alumni, to the students. It also allows me to understand what the university is doing from the inner workings. I work with a group of outstanding professionals. They come from very different backgrounds in academia, and we're all like a family. And I say that because I've been on this committee for 5 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
These elected positions, I was elected for a second term, and I've come to know these people, not as people, but as family. And we communicate. We can agree to disagree on certain things, We elaborate on other things. We have extensive networks. You wouldn't believe some of the networks that my colleagues have and their reaches in the corporate arena, in academia, in the political arena. It is unbelievable. And sometimes I wonder, how did I get involved with these? It is a blessing. It is truly a blessing. And same thing with the disabled American veterans that I work with. Yeah. A group of professionals, second to none. Our community outreach and networking is just as awesome. So between the university and the DAV chapters, those are two communities that have networks and resources that you wouldn't believe that can help veterans, that can help students, and that can help the university from both sides of the arena. One thing you mentioned about the transition of the university, before I was at Excelsior College, there was this program, and it started out because, as you know, through my military career, I was going to school when I left, and then as all the other things, it was the external degree program. That's how it started out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's how I got involved with Excelsior. When its infancy, it was being advertised, I was a little skeptical, like anything else. You know, when something's new is out for the first time, people are a little skeptical about venturing into it or trying it out or taking that first leap of faith. And so through my military career, as I continued to attend college and earn credits, I went the whole gamut. I went through corresponding courses. I went through the videotape at the library, in classroom instruction, and now you have online. Yeah. And so I've done it all. I've seen it all as far as education. And so as an advocate for the university and for veterans, I can tell you firsthand, the university will utilize all the credits you have in one way or another to help you get the diploma that you're searching for, that you're reaching for. They give you an evaluation of all the college credits that you have, the military, the schools that you've attended, and they have an evaluation process that takes all of those classes and courses you've attended and give an evaluation that will allow you to earn college credits for your degree. And with that being said, you're already pretty much halfway there. And once they do that, they identify the classes you need to take, depending on the curriculum and choice of study. And those are the classes you need to take to graduate and to finish education. And that was the route I went. It took a little while for me to accept it. I was always teeter-tottering with it. And I came back and went full circle. And I am a graduate. And the motto for the university is ever upward. And that's what I want for everyone else, to continue their progress, to go ever upward, to be whatever they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. We're going to take a quick break, and we're just going to play another coffee song because I don't know if you've heard it or not. So this is Coffee Anderson, Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I think you'll like it.
All right.
It's the guts and it's the glory, 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes, hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to the Tracer Rounds podcast, and I'm your host, Terry, and I have with me Samuel Watkins, and he is a veteran, and he is also with Excelsior College as Alumni Council. I just forgot the word.
Alumni Leadership Council.
Leadership Council. I knew I had it in the wrong order. So what would you say to somebody considering going back to school and considering a college or considering a platform or considering maybe a degree field? Do you have any advice for somebody?
Yes. Stop considering.
That's good advice.
You gotta do it. Considering is the intent. And you can always have the intent and consider doing things, but it's not going to happen until you actually move forward and make something happen for yourself. As far as being part of the Alumni Leadership Council for Excelsior University, we have various platforms that we reach out to alumni and to students currently enrolled. We have an ambassador program that we reach out and we promote the university. We talk to students. We talk to prospective students who are considering attending university. We talk to current students that are currently involved in things that they might be considering or have questions about. We talk to alumni, things that they've experienced while they were a student or things they may consider coming back for a graduate degree or get involved in some of the activities that the university offers. We also have what we call, and recently started, a mentorship program, and it started this year. And one of our alumni leadership council members will host it for about a month, and you can talk to him or her about everything and anything. They have various backgrounds, they have various connections, and they're there to assist you, almost like a counselor, but they're not a counselor. They're mentors. So if there's an opportunity for you to ask them a question in reference to a career choice, maybe issues you might have with the courses that you're taking, they're there to help you and guide you. And if they don't have an answer for you, they can get one for you. We have resources, we know people, we have opportunities to provide you with the information you might need through someone else if we don't have it for you. The other thing we have available to us, we have what we call Excelsior Connect, and that's an online connection with the university, and it's open to all students, all alumni, and prospective students once you decide to become a member or you want to get involved. And there it's like a social network where there's opportunities to exchange information, to find out what's going on with the university, some of the activities that are ongoing, upcoming events, past events. It is just of knowledge, it's just knowledge unbelievable. And the other thing we do, we support the university's mission. We interact with the university president and the faculty. The president of the Alumni Leadership Council, he pretty much is involved in that aspect. And then we provide the support that he needs based on the information he brings back to us and what we need to support the university itself. President Scable, the current president of the university, outstanding gentleman. He's very supportive of our leadership council, and we support him in all our efforts to keep the university functional, to get it promoted, to let everyone know that the university is available to you, and especially for veterans. I couldn't ask any more of a university to support a veteran than what the university does now. And being a former veteran, having gone through the ups and downs of taking classes abroad, taking classes through various different venues, The university accepted them, provided an evaluation, told me what I needed to take in order to complete my degree, and I did it. And you can too. So if you have any considerations, any thoughts, any intentions, you got to act on it. All right. You got to move forward. You got to take that first step. Reach out to the university. You can find them online. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find us anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. And for those that don't know, it's the actual university is located in Albany, New York, and you can attend in person. They do have classes, but mostly it's an online platform of of students and of classwork and coursework on Canva. Canvas is the platform that it's on, and they are very sensitive to work constraints and military service. If you're still actively in the military, they work very well with that. I remember I was deployed a couple of times down to the coast responding to a hurricane, and I had an assignment due, and I'm like, look, I'm working 12-hour shifts. I'm like, I can't get to this. I'll do it as quick as I can. They're like, yep, we understand. You get the work in as quick as you can. Military service trumps the assignment. We'll work with you, and they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I thought that was really great. I've never had, because, I had gone to another university, or it wasn't a university, it was a junior college, to get an associate's degree. And I had a baby, and the professor would not excuse me from the assignment. He wouldn't let me turn it in late. He said, no, you weren't here. Well, I know, I was in the hospital. He's like, that's no excuse. Okay, sure. It's no excuse. You want me to just show up right after? No problem. So I had to go to talk to the counselor to get him to change his mind.
Yeah, the university is flexible in assisting their students with their studies, whatever roadblocks that you might have or issues concerning continuing your studies. Just talk with them. If you're already enrolled and you have an issue, talk with your instructor, your counselor, and they'll be more than happy to work with you and to work around whatever the problem might be, and to help you complete and fulfill your goal of acquiring your degree.
Yeah, I agree. They've always worked with me in anything that I've had, because I know that I've had assignments that were due and I couldn't get to them because of military duty or work constraints, and they've always like, well, we'll work with you, we'll talk to your professor, you just work it out. And they've always been very accommodating on that, I know.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you, from your own perspective, are you going to do more books? Are you going to write more poems, or do you write poems daily?
I do have more poems. I have another book coming out. It's pretty much an extension of the one you currently have in your hand, but it has a lot more. I write in spurts. I'm not a prolific writer. I just write continuously. I write when thoughts come to me. I write when I have conversations about things. It just depends on what it is. Or if I have a thought in my head and I might write a line, then I might not do anything for 2 or 3 months because nothing moved me for that. And then sometimes I might get a thought and I'll write 4 or 5 lines, 2 or 3 paragraphs, and then I will edit it and it becomes whatever it is. But yeah, I have two books in the works. As I mentioned, another book of poems is going to be an extension of Whispers. I just haven't decided to title it yet, because like it's an anthology. I expanded one of the chapters because the book, for anyone interested, is Poems and Inspirations. And the first part is on inspirations, and I talk about various different spiritual things that inspired me to write and what I write about. The second part is on life in general, things that happen around, sometimes day-to-day activities, or the things you just don't think about in general. And the last one, and a lot of people gravitate to that, is love and passion, which is how I started writing out for the guys in my unit. Poems about love, poems about relationships and in general. And sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't, depending on who was writing it.
Right.
So, but yeah, the second book is pretty much an autobiography. I've titled it Profiles of U.S. Servicemen. And
wow.
because I have a varied background in things that I've done and places I've been, I'm working on that. There's some information that I want to include that's not yet available because I can't write about it until it's gone through and been approved. But
Right.
some of the things that I will tell you that will be included in it is I've had multiple deployments overseas, both as a deployment and in harm's way. Um, I was in Beirut, Lebanon, when they had the bombing the Marine barracks. I was in Desert Storm. Um, I was overseas in Korea, in Panama after Just Cause, and I was in Afghanistan as a defense contractor from 2011 through 2012. So I've got quite a few things to write about,
Yeah, you
and
do.
my experiences as an athlete in the military and how I was trying to progress to the different levels of prominence and achievement. My goal was to get to the Olympics. Didn't get there, but I did get there.
But you
Didn't,
did get there, yeah.
yeah, didn't get there athlete, but got there as a spectator.
Right. Well, I mean, you're still there, right? At the end of the day, you still reached the goal. You're still at the Olympics. The capacity might have not been what you were envisioning, but you were still there and still rubbing elbows with some of those superior athletes.
Yeah. So those are the two books that are in the works right now. There's the poetry book is near completion. It's just that got to have a stopping point. You know, you always continue to write. You always want to add this. You want to add that. So I haven't defined a stopping point yet, but I'm near it. I do know that. And as I mentioned, the autobiography, there's things that I have to wait until they're approved to be included, or maybe not included, before I can actually move forward with that. Now, one of my mentors for that, for my autobiography, I reached out to a gentleman who was a candidate for a Peace Prize, not Peace Prize, Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, wow.
He is the adjunct writer for the Military Times. And I reached out to him to get some pointers, as well as a few other people, to get some professional opinions about what I have, what I want to talk about, and the path I need to go to in order to get it included into the book. And so, yeah, there's some things that I have to go through prior to that information being released and being available before I can include it.
Oh, wow. So you said that the poem book is about to come out. So probably in another month or two, we can expect that?
No, not that soon. I wish. No, it's about for me to complete and put a stop at what I want to add into it before it goes into the editing process.
I see.
So as I mentioned, the first part is on inspirations, and I've expanded that. Initially, it was just talking about some of the things that are inspiring to those who have a spiritual connection, whether it be with Christ our Lord, Buddha, whoever that you feel comfortable with or close to in your spiritual connection, that's there. And I expanded on that to include prayers, inspirational poems, religious humor. There's humor in everything, and there's humor in religion as well.
I agree.
And some other things that I thought was just a part of the overall concept of spirituality. And as far as the dealing with reflections on life, I've expanded that as well to include other things that I hadn't thought about in day-to-day activities and how people reflect on some of the things that they're confronted with, whether it be different burdens that they have to go through that they're struggling with, which almost similar to what's in the inspirational one, because you need that support, you need that upliftment, and you need something to motivate you and to guide you. And the last one, love and passion, there's always material for that.
Right. Yeah. There's always room for that, for sure. So is there anything else you want to talk about? We have about 10 minutes left in the show, and I want to make sure I give you a chance to say or to talk about anything else that's you want to bring forward to our audience. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else we didn't touch on?
I don't want to bore everybody.
You're not boring.
The the one thing I still would like to reiterate is, if you want to attend school, if you want to continue school, if you're in school and you're struggling, reach out and talk to someone, because you never know what is available to you unless you ask the question,
Right.
or ask someone, or have someone, provide you feedback or constructive criticism on what you're doing or what you think you're about doing or what you have done, and be able to move forward from that. There was an old commercial back in the day where it says, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste."
I remember that.
And it is, but it has to be
Right.
cultivated. It has to be engaged. You have to use it. And so, with that being said, the sky's the limit. You can only go as far as you want to go, because nothing is hindering you but yourself. There are roadblocks and there are setbacks, but that's life. But it's those who move forward and not let that become an obstacle for them in order to obtain the goals that they desire. And you can do it. I've seen it done. I've done it. I didn't always achieve everything I attempted, but I had some level of success where I can look back and say, well, I did do that. I tried it. It didn't work out. I tried something else. And I can say I've done it, and I continue to help those who are willing to try and do it for themselves. And anything that I can do to help someone, whether it be with the university, whether it be a veteran, or just someone on the street, because the other side of my life was I was in law enforcement. And so one of the things I used to tell some of the students that I had when I was teaching the police academy and the Navy Law Enforcement Academy is, when one of us approach you, you can listen to me now or listen to me later. Because if you have to listen to me later, you don't have an opportunity to speak. You don't have an opportunity to be able to express yourself or to counter whatever it is I'm doing, because it's too late then.
Yeah.
And so we have the shows they used to have on TV called Scare Straight. I don't know if you remember that, where they would go into either courtrooms or prisons and jails and have students come in there, and they go in there for a day or two or a certain period of time, and they see the inmates, they interact with the inmates and see what they're going through. Some of them have an opportunity to sit down and talk to them. Some of them go into a jail cell and be there for a while. And it's an enlightening experience. And sometimes that's what it's called, Scare Straight. It's an opportunity to prevent you from being there, because this is what you're going to be facing if you go that route.
I mean, yeah, I think it has its place for sure. Giving people a little taste of something that's not pleasant sometimes it's a mind changer or a game changer for them, because they're like, yeah, we're not going down this path. I see where that leads, and it's not any good.
And yes, some of them say that and they end up there anyway.
Yeah, some people just don't have to learn the hard way, even though they're shown the path and shown the direction to head. Some people are just like, yeah, maybe not this time, and then they find out that the advice they were given was good advice, and now they're in the wrong place because they weren't listening.
Exactly, and it goes across the board, not just with young adults, older adults as well. Because they've had a certain lifestyle or upbringing or the environment that they grew up in or was evolved around. Some things are ingrained and they think that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be changed, but you have to be the one to change it for yourself before it can change for anyone else.
That's true. You have to break the cycle, even if the cycle is, you head down a wrong path and you continue to flounder and not progress. That can be changed. Like you say, I don't think it's ever too late. Do you think it's too late to get an education, or too late to change, or too late to make a difference in your trajectory?
No, in fact, I'm glad you brought that up. At the commencement every year, Excelsior University main commencement in July, we recognize the youngest and the oldest graduate. For the past couple of years, the youngest graduate has been between 12 and 14, I believe. The youngest has been 12.
What?
So it's never too late.
Oh my goodness.
And you're never too young.
Right.
If you have the knowledge, the desire, well, you don't have to know, you need the desire. That's all you need is a desire to do it. Someone is there to help you through it.
Wow. 12.
And as far as God would say, and that's all I got to say about that.
Wow. Well, I'll be there in July. Will you be there in July? For
Yes,
the
I will be there
graduation?
July. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well,
I will
I'll
be
be
part
there.
of
Maybe
the
I'll see
Alumni
you.
Leadership Council. I will hope to see you as well.
Yeah, that'll be great. I still can't believe somebody 12 graduated from Excelsior.
Yes, and I have the pictures to show it.
That is crazy. They need to put that out in the newsletter. That's like that's like super exciting news to have somebody that young be. So they got their bachelor's, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Yeah.
got a bachelor's degree, or 12 years old.
What did they get it in?
There's
Do
a
you
lot of
know?
prodigies out there. In fact, one of our prodigies, she was on the national news last year. She's an African-American young lady. She just got a doctorate. And
Wow.
I think she's 21 now. But she
That's crazy.
she will be at the commencement as well. She's going to be
That's
recognized
exciting.
at the commencement. I hope I didn't let the cat out the bag.
Oops. I won't tell nobody. I won't tell nobody.
I won't either because I didn't tell her name either.
There you go. Right? You didn't spill the beans.
But commencement is an opportunity for those who have graduated or those who want to attend a graduation to be able to come forth and fulfill their dream. For me, it was actually 10 years from the time I graduated from Excelsior to actually walk across the stage
Oh wow.
because of my background and being in the military and then in law enforcement. I didn't have the opportunity to attend. And when I was there in 2009, I was the recipient of the C. Wayne Williams Award, which is one of the alumni awards for the university. So they gave me the opportunity to receive the award and also to walk, which I wasn't able to do 10 years prior.
That's exciting. Well, we have about 1 minute left. Any closing comment before we go and let you have your evening back?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me this platform to be able to expand on the relationship between Excelsior University and the availability to help veterans through the DAV, as I represent both. And for those who are interested, there is a DAV chapter in every state, in every city. You just have to go online to dav.org and you can pull up and identify which nearest location to you if you need assistance. And as Terry mentioned, you can go online for ExcelsiorUniversity.org, is it?
.edu.
.edu, excuse me. I should know this. I got so much stuff in my head. To identify and find out what the university can offer, reach out to someone either online or you can call them as well. And they will be more than happy to assist you in your educational goals and desires to help you move forward on that path.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight. And I thank you for your service and I thank you for what you're doing for veterans. And everybody have a good night.
And thank
Tracer
you very
Rounds
much.
signing off. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.